there's 1,000 reasons to not do something. That that's kind of a quote that I really like. The biggest thing is just get out there and just do it.
Woo! Let's go.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Get ready to get inspired. This is the Go4TheGoldy podcast.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, March 24th, and I'm joined today by a man who is pursuing his passion to be a full-time digital creator. How cool is that? Please welcome to the show, David Zagskorn.
What's up, man?
David,
How's it going?
long time no see, my friend. How are
I
you?
know, buddy. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. The reason I say long time no see for all those out there is we actually went to high school together. And
Many years ago.
Many moons ago, yes, sir. So, I always like to get the show kicked off with just a quick introduction done by yourself. So, just a little bit about you. Go ahead, man.
Nice, man. So I'm actually a digital creator. I do have a full-time job. I work for a men's grooming company as a marketing manager, and basically what that means is I'm creating content. I'm getting deals out there. I'm getting giveaways out there. Basically, just making content for the brand. And then on my own, I'm a freelance photographer and videographer. So I work with companies in the area. I work with people one-on-one basis. Try to get some good stuff. I basically just make content for a living. So it's kind of exactly what I wanted to do.
That's really cool, man. So, you basically get paid to practice what you do on your free time.
Right. Yeah. So basically, I've turned my passion and my hobby into my job, which you can't say enough about how great that feels.
Yeah, how many people get to say they do that, right? I mean,
Right, yeah.
how many people are just miserable at their jobs all day, and you parlay
A
that
lot.
into a career.
Yeah. I do the work. I do work a lot of hours, but it doesn't feel like I'm working a lot of hours, and that's the most important part.
That's really neat, man. So when did you get started into, I mean, were you like originally like a marketing type mind, and then, as content creation kind of came with it, or were you get into that first and then, you parlayed that to a marketing job? Like, how did that all come about?
Honestly, I've just always been into creating content, specifically video. I've always wanted to do video work. It just kind of, I never really thought that I could. I never really thought that avenue was open to me. But honestly, man, I just saved up some money. I bought a camera. I kind of watched, I taught myself a bunch of stuff from YouTube. Shout out to Peter McKinnon. His channel is nasty. So I basically just taught myself everything. And then just kind of went from there, man. I just, was taking pictures. I was doing things like that. I just kind of on my own time. And luckily it steamrolled into something substantial.
That's neat. And I'll tell you, in every show, what I like to do afterwards, like when I produce it and when it goes to the podcast land or, lives on YouTube,
Yeah.
everything that you talk about, if you want to like write it down or whatever, like I'm gonna put the links of things that you mention in the show. So
Oh, nice.
yeah. So everyone that you mention or anyone that's really helped you,
Yeah.
let's promote them too. Because and honestly, selfishly, I'm still teaching myself all this stuff too. So anyone
Yeah.
that you found inspiring or really knowledgeable on anything that you do, I love to kind of follow along as well with them too. So.
I mean, it's an ever-changing field, so
Yeah.
you learn something new every single day. I've been doing this for a little while now, and every day I find a little fix or a little tweak or a little way to make something easier or something faster. And you're just like, wow, I can't believe that was there the whole time. That would have saved me so much time.
I think it's like a double-edged sword too, because there's so much to know and it's always changing, but you just have to get started because you don't know what you don't know until you keep just kind of explore, right? I mean,
That's 100% what it's all about. Like I said, I honestly just didn't think that this avenue was anything that was open to me because I didn't take the traditional route. I didn't go to school to be a photographer. I didn't go to school to learn, audio or video or anything like that. I'm literally just a dude that bought a camera and started watching YouTube videos and just taking notes and going out there and just trying stuff. And I would try stuff. I would keep going. And I'd fail at it 50 times, but that 51st time when you finally get it and it finally clicks and you're just like, all right, I got like it is something that you can do.
Yeah, no, I love that, and that's really the point of this podcast, and it's just growing to, include different genres, because I think the common thread amongst everyone that I like talking to is just thinking outside the box, motivated, driven people, and
Yeah.
the idea that, especially because we're the same age, and we graduated, one in '04, just so many people that I know just think life ends once you graduate high school or college, and it's just like, well, I am what I am, and this is it until I write it out, and that's
Right.
a crazy, to me, that's just insane. So I like surrounding myself with people like you who are in that growth mindset. It's never it. I'm not the final product. I'm not who I was 10 years ago. I'm not who I'm going to be in 10 years from now. And
Right.
So I really find it interesting to hear how people got to where they are. You just gave a really high level. I didn't think this was open to me, but here I am.
Right.
After high school, kind of walk us through, your thought process, your career, kind of what happened.
I think it's important for people to know that even though you are being very nice and saying that we graduated in '04, I never graduated. I'm a high school dropout. So I got my GED. After high school, I worked not great jobs. I did lawn service. I did some retail stuff. I went to school based on the fact of just like I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So to be honest, I went to a community college. My degree is in radiology. So I'm an MRI tech. That's what I went to school for. And the only reason that I picked that is I basically just Googled highest paying 2-year degree because I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I went to school for that and ended up getting a job. And as much as I did like the job, because you do get to help people out and everything like that, I wasn't happy. It wasn't something I was passionate about. And I feel like people get kind of stuck in that rut. They just kind of decide, I'm going to do this. They go for it. They don't love it, but they don't feel like they have any other options. They feel like it's almost too late. And one of my favorite stories is Colonel Sanders, right? So KFC dude, that dude made his first million when he was 64 years old.
That's
There's
awesome.
there's always time to take a step back, reevaluate your life, see what makes you happy, see where you want to go, and then go for that. So that's kind of like the biggest message that I tell people is like, you're not stuck where you are. You might feel like you're stuck, but you're not stuck. You can always do something to better your situation. And seriously, in this day and age, you can, like, I know it's kind of cliche to say, you can be anything you want to be, but like this is the time where it's actually a possibility.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man. And it took me a little while to realize that. I think we're just kind of conditioned to think that, and if for you, it would have been really easy to be like, well, I got my GED and I got this radiology job, and I should be happy. I have what else do I need, right? I have a good job, and
Right.
same thing happened to me. You have these jobs, but that's just what it is. It's a job, and
Yeah.
you're just trudging through life. You wake up, you're dreading to go to this thing that you don't really want to do, but you kind of,
Right.
like you said, you feel stuck, and I think it does take action. It does take a little bit of courage to break out of that shell,
100%.
To really pursue. But something that stuck with me is, do you know Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V?
I love Gary Vee, man.
Yeah, he's an intense dude. He's definitely he's an intense guy.
He's intense, yeah.
He is, but one of the things that he said that really resonated with me was he said, if you kind of look at your life in like a 24-hour cycle, and even if you are working a job that you don't like, say you're working a 9 to 5, you're stuck at the office and you're miserable. Well, 9 to 5, that's 8 hours a day. Then let's say an hour for commute, so that's 9 hours. Well, what are you doing with those other 16 hours?
100%.
And if you really are as miserable as you say you are, you're going to be driven to change. So let's say 6 hours a night you're sleeping. We still have 10 out. What are those 10 hours? What are you doing?
Right.
In those 10 hours, are you watching TV? Are you, just clicking around on Facebook and seeing what other people are doing? These are time wasters, and you don't realize it, though. It's quicksand, those things,
In the famous words of Gary Vee, the 6 hours after your 9 to 5 is plenty of time to do some damage.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man.
It is. And it's easy to get caught in the I'm tired, I'll do it tomorrow, but life slips, man. All of a sudden you turn around and, you're down the road and you're like, whoa, what happened to the last 5 years, 10 years,
Right. That's the big thing, man, is it's not easy. I'll be honest, it's not easy. So like I said, I was working at a hospital. I was working the 9 to 5. For me, it was 3 to 11. I was a second shift guy. And I was putting in hours, man, and they were unpaid hours. It was just all about self-improvement and trying to take myself to a place where I thought I could be. But the payoff for that, I was thinking very macro, but living in the micro, if that makes sense.
That's interesting.
I was putting in, 5-6 hours on stuff that, people just wouldn't do. And I think that's the biggest thing is everybody wants this quick flip. Like, I'm going to have this amazing idea. I'm going to go to Shark Tank and I'm going to be a millionaire. But like what they don't realize is that dude that went to Shark Tank worked his 9 to 5 and then for 2 years came home and worked on this product for 6 hours a night, and finally got a shot. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the mindset where I was at. So I was working 3 to 11. I would come home, I'd eat something, and shower up, take just a couple minutes for myself, and then from like midnight till like 5 in the morning, like I was working on content. Whether it be photography, trying to get a video out, trying to reach out to brands, try to see if I could work some deals where I could do some free stuff for them. A lot of it didn't make me any money necessarily, but in the long term, it all kind of led to where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it's like you're right. People nowadays are really seeking that instant gratification. You don't want to call people lazy, but at the same time, especially in the age of the internet, and you could, in the words of Flex Chapman, who I had on a couple weeks ago, he goes, "A frog falls over and it goes viral."
Right.
You never, and everyone's kind of expecting that, but for the vast majority of people, it's putting in the work. And I'm a sucker for these like business memes and motivational quotes and stuff like that. And there was I follow an account on Instagram, it's like Business Mindset or something like that, and it's a picture of an iceberg, and it's like underneath the iceberg is hard work, 5 a.m. alarm clocks, all this stuff, and then the tip of the iceberg is success, and the idea is that's the only thing people see, so they think it's easy, and it's not how it is at all,
100%. Yeah, no, that's not how it is at all. And unfortunately, a lot of people just won't put in the work. They won't put in the time to do what they want to do. They'd rather come home and just kind of unwind and watch TV for 5 hours. In essence, I mean, it's something that you can do, but if you really want to be successful, I don't think it's the way to go.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that. And that's where when I was in my mid-20s, I was working at a big Buffalo company. You'd know it if I told you. But all day long, people are just talking about like TV shows and shit all day, and I'm like, I have nothing to relate to you with because I don't watch any of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't occupy my time with obsessing over other people or watching these TV shows or movies, and I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was just like looking around. I'm like, I am so out of place. This is not for me. And
Yeah.
I forget who I was listening to, but I thought it was really interesting. They said it was one of the millions of podcasts I listened to, but they were saying, the one common thread in successful people is not, where you started out in life. It's not race. It's not ethnicity. It's not, gender. It's not any of that stuff. The common thread is persistency. It's just staying at it day in and day out, doing the grind. Like you said, it's the guy in Shark Tank who didn't come up with the idea, or the guy or lady, the lady didn't come up with it yesterday. She's been grinding. He's been grinding every day for 6 hours a day after work, putting that idea together to create that moment or that opportunity, and to really get him to the next level. So when you say, oh no, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that goes back to the iceberg, right? The iceberg analogy. People see him on the show and they're like, wow, he just iced a deal for like 10 mil. They don't see, he spent 5 hours a night for the last 2 years trying to get to that opportunity.
Yeah.
People only see the macro, so people want the macro. They forget about the micro, and the micro is the most important.
And people say, what a stupid idea. I could have come up with that. Sure, you may have come up with it, but would you put in the work to make it,
You
get
could have,
yeah,
but you didn't.
Yeah, that's also true, yeah. So what I was going to ask you was, digital creator. Like, let's explore that a little bit. I know you got your hand in a lot of different things, and we'll get into the whole Twitch thing in a minute here. But just kind of like a higher level, approach to digital creator. Like, what does that mean to you?
Digital creator is basically a blanket term that people just kind of put on like a jack of all trades. So my job is basically just whatever we need, whether it be photography, whether I need to write a blog, whether we need to do a video, whether we need sound bites, whether we need audio fixed, anything like that. Anything that you relate to as digital media, I need to have a hand in. It's basically just saying that like I don't have a specialty.
It took a second to resonate, but yeah. So how did you teach yourself all this? What was obviously you said that guy, I forgot his name already, but
Peter McKinnon.
Yeah, Peter McKinnon.
Yeah, Peter McKinnon is an awesome YouTube channel. So basically I just learned from YouTube, and I kind of just saved up, and started buying stuff and just playing around with it. I don't want people to think that I haven't made mistakes. 100% I have made mistakes. I bought gear that I don't need. I've bought gear that I don't know how to use. I go back and look at some of my photos and I'm just like, oh my god, that edit is terrible. So like being self-taught, you kind of have to work around that. But honestly, like I kind of feel like the days of having to go to school for most things are kind of dead. You can find anything that you want to learn relatively easily. I mean, you could just do a Google search for whatever you're trying to figure out, and you'll end up finding an article. You'll find a YouTube channel. Skillshare is like $20 a month, so you could rock on Skillshare and just figure out how to do stuff there.
What's that?
Skillshare is like a platform where it's basically a bunch of people that teach courses, and what you can do is for $20 a month. You sign up for Skillshare and you can just take all of these online courses. And honestly, with like the whole COVID situation, it's basically like what college is now, just doing through like Zoom meetings and stuff like that. But you can learn anything you want. So there's a photographer on there right now called Brandon Wolf. His name's Brandon Wolfel, and he's got a class where he teaches photography. He teaches editing, all types of stuff like that. So you can honestly just teach yourself stuff. And in today, I feel like your degree, like having a paper degree, is less important than just having skills that you can show people immediately. So like I said, you can self teach yourself pretty much anything you want. It's just how much time are you going to put into it.
I agree with you, man. I mean, honestly, on my side of things, I was a college dropout. So
yeah.
When I've won from Kent East, I went to a year of college in California. Then I went to UB, and then I went down to Charlotte for a bit, and I was changing majors every time, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and then I just never graduated. And
right.
I'll tell you, man, I really do think that there's obviously a value in going to college. It teaches you the discipline, and it teaches you, kind of responsibility, your first 4 years outside of high school, living on your own, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, some of the most interesting people I've ever met are the people that didn't go to college, and some of the most driven people I've ever met are the people that didn't go to college. That it's like it's a different mindset, a different headspace that you occupy.
I'm the biggest proponent of not going to college. It's gonna sound awful. It really is, but I feel like in today's world, it just doesn't matter as much as it once did. Like, we kind of get in this mindset, right, where society is kind of deemed what's normal, right? So you go to school, you go to college, you get out of college, you find a job, you get married, you have a kid, life. Like, that is the social norm, and it doesn't have to be that way. Especially the colleges, man. I don't know how some people do it. They come out of college and it's like there's no guarantee for a job. They come out of college, they're $200,000 in debt, and it's like you started yourself in such a hole to get a little piece of paper that nowadays the top 10,000 companies in the world don't even care if you have.
Now, I will say I do hope my doctor went to college. I hope, my my lawyer,
Medical is the only thing that I feel like you still need to go to school for, and that's less about book learning and more about hands-on.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So you don't want your brain surgeon to learn everything from YouTube. You want to know like they've had their hands in there, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going medical, college is definitely the way to go. Outside of that, it's really hard to find any profession where I really feel like it's necessary.
I can't believe these people that will take some, wacky, some newer age, type degree where they're coming out of college $100,000 in debt with like a philosophy degree. Well, that's not new, but you know what I mean, like gender studies or something like that, where it's like, that's I don't know. It seems crazy to me. I guess obviously people are doing it, and there's probably utility to it, but for me, it's like I don't see the like just. If you don't know what you're going to do, just take a couple years and pursue some passions. Like what better time in your life when you're 18, 19 years old, 20 years old to just go figure it out. Go back to college when you're 21 if you want. If you know that you want to, pursue that degree and you're hell bent on it, go ahead. Or do 2 years of community college, save the money, and then
100%.
Do something like that, because I mean, I actually just got my degree last year, because it was kind of like an ego thing. I was like, I had all these credits. I'm like, I might as well just get that damn piece of paper, So I was on that like 12-year college plan. It worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I honestly think people have it kind of twisted a little bit. So we live in this society where it's like you grind early, and then you do that so that hopefully around 65 you can take a break. And I honestly think it's kind of a weird way to go. I mean, life is a long-term game, right? So if you're not sure 100% what you want to do, don't waste the quote-unquote best years of your life just doing what society thinks you should be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree with you, man. And I mean, when I was 29, I got this opportunity. Or no, I was let's see, it was 2018, so it was 32. Me and my fiance just moved down here to Texas on a whim. We'd never even been to Texas before.
No.
But I got that job with Major League Soccer, and I was just like, I'm out of here.
Right.
And we made a beeline for it. And everyone called me crazy. Everyone was like, I don't know why you would move somewhere you've never even visited, like take this job with a sports team. But I'm like, I want to work in pro sports, and this is my opportunity, and I'm going to go do it. And
Right.
It didn't work out with the pro sports because of COVID, but honestly, like me and my fiance couldn't be happier in that decision that we made, and it was just pursuing our passions, and I'm really happy that we're here. So, I'm with you, man. I can't imagine just that mindset of well, I'm 24, so this is it. I'm gonna write it out now. It's like, what? you know?
I will say, when I made this career switch, so I made a full-on career switch. I don't work in medical anymore. I just quit. Most people told me don't quit your day job. I mean, that was like the number one thing that I heard. But the people that really cared about me, the people that were the closest to me, the people that I actually cared about, told me, go for it. And you'll kind of see that.
It means you got some good people around you.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna tell you, don't do it, but you got to kind of silence that and just know that you're taking a shot, and life is, like I said, man, life is a long game. If a lot of people fail, and if you fail, you got time to go back. You can fail at something safe, so you might as well take a shot at something you love too.
That's right. No, I completely agree, man. I mean, I have these like visions of grandeur of being a full-time content creator. I'm all in on like trying to be a YouTuber. I've like read books about it, and I'm really trying to engulf myself in the whole atmosphere. I think it's fascinating, because if you can carve a niche out and be interesting and just really make quality stuff and work your ass off, I think it shows. People care about that. They really do. And
they really do. Yeah. And what it is it's less about content creation and more about personality, right?
Yeah.
So we live in a world where every single person has a YouTube, every single person has an Instagram and a Twitter. The amount of content out there is ridiculous, and you're seeing a position where production value is starting to go down, and people are still okay with that. And it has to do with personality, right? So instead of people following you for necessarily what you do, they're following you and engaging with you just because they like you. They like who you are. So I try to tell everybody, like, you have to think about everything that you do as you are a brand. You know, Goldsmith is a brand. You know, Zagskorn is a brand. Like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the way that you have to approach everything. You know,
Yeah.
think of yourself like an Amazon.
Yeah, when you were that's a great point, because I had a guy on a couple weeks ago who he's a streamer, and you know he's he's like in the process of going full-time Twitch partner. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, and I'm like, that's so cool. And his story was really cool. His name's Flex Chapman. I referenced him before, but he I think he's 24, 25, and he was homeless at one point of his life for like a long period of time. And
Oh, wow.
his friends and family like knew his goal forever has been to be a full-time creator, and bought him a computer, and it's just a really cool story.
Yeah.
And he brought up the point, though. He said, there's a million people playing Apex Legends out there, or Call of Duty, or Fortnite, and people may not necessarily even watch you to see because you're great, or you're killing it, or you're one of the best in the world. They just enjoy hanging out with you. They're a
Right.
fan of the game, and they're a fan of you, so it's a perfect situation for them to support you in your endeavors. And I mean, one of the examples I gave him was, I ride my bike a lot and it sounds like a weird thing, but my bike is actually right here behind me, and I ride on Zwift, it's called. So it's like this game where my avatar projects on all my statistics as I'm riding project on to an avatar, and there's all different things you can do in the game, and you actually race professional racers are actually racing on this game. It's pretty
Oh,
wild.
nice. Yeah,
But
that's sweet.
it's really cool, and I actually just got off it before I hopped on here, so I'm kind of sweaty. That's why my head's so shiny. But one of the things I was saying is, as you know, the way we set this show up was you were on my Mario stream. You actually rated me, and we were hanging out, and there were a couple people on there that are people that I met through Zwift. And they don't give a shit about Mario, but
Right.
they enjoy my antics. You know what I mean? They
Right, yeah.
enjoy hanging out with me. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's the personality. It's not that they like Mario, it's that they like hanging out with me.
100%. Mario is not the brand. You are the brand. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
That's why people are more successful. Just being themselves, or creating some type of character. It's not so much the content itself. It's who you are and how you project yourself, and 100% on how appreciative you are of the people that support you. If you're engaging with your audience, if you're appreciative, you show love to them, you thank them for coming. That goes a long way, and they'll keep coming back.
So I was going to ask you. So you've really it's funny that me and you have gone kind of a different paths. You hopped on Twitch, and then I've not stayed away, but I've shifted my focus to the production and YouTube side of things. And
Yep.
you've been killing it in Twitch. Seriously, you've come a really long way in a short time.
Twitch is fun. I really enjoy it, and it's another thing where basically what it came down to was I love playing games, right? But in my mindset, when I would play games, I would just constantly be thinking I should be doing something else right now. This isn't super productive. You know what I mean? So Twitch was a great avenue for me to be able to, again, do something that I love, which is just hang out with my friends and play video games, but also have it be a goal it's something that I'm working for.
But it's
You know
that
what I mean?
production value that you're doing. It's combining your passion of production and kind of marketing yourself, and parlaying that with gaming.
Right, and I think if you look at my Twitch stream, it's kind of like an example of how I kind of do everything. And my videos are up there from the early days. So like the early days of me streaming were literally me just turning on my PlayStation, no camera, no nothing. I would just talk through the mic, just through a headset and just play games. And now if you look at my stream, I've kind of got to the position where, I've created overlays. I have a camera set up, I have a microphone set up, I have all types of interactive stuff that you can do on the stream. And again, that's just my mindset of how I basically tackle everything. Like all of that stuff is all just me watching YouTube videos and be like, oh, okay, this is how you do this, and I hate to keep going back to it, but it's very micro. So everything that you see, maybe one day I get the overlays. Maybe one day I figure out the camera setup. One day I figure out how to do sound bites, stuff like that. But it all kind of works together into this macro. And I think if you look at my first video and my last video, you can kind of see my mindset of how I kind of tackle everything.
It's crazy to think, I tackle it the same way, and you're right about that. And that was advice I got from a guy on Zwift that he was saying I was picking his brain. I was like, how is your stream so incredible? Like there's just so much to tackle. He goes, just pick a thing a day. Like every time you stream, just pick one thing to get, to improve aesthetically, right. Your audio, your visual, just something. Just pick one thing to improve a little bit. And, it's like brick by brick in a house. Right. After a period of time, you're going to have a whole house. And I just was super impressed by how fast that you've grown your Twitch
Thanks,
community.
man.
Yeah, so it really is impressive.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's a gift and a curse, right? So I get driven by things, but almost to the point where I'm obsessive, right? So
you're preaching to the choir, dude. Yeah.
I get to the point where it's just like I want everything right there, and it's not so much about it's not so much about monetary value or anything like that. I just want to put out a good production. So I kind of get to the point where I'm just like, this needs to be done and it needs to be done fast, and I can do as many things as I can possibly do. But again, never lose sight of the micro. Like you said, it's one thing at a time. Just make sure you get that thing down, make sure it's working the way that it needs to go, and then move on to the next, and eventually you'll have a full-on production. That's something that you can be really proud of.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting you say that, man, because it took me a really long time to figure out myself. For years, I basically just have been obsessed with things, and just whenever I'm into something, if I'm into something, I just go as hard as I possibly can at it,
Right.
and like you said, it's not about the money, I'm not making any money doing this, but, I like being that beacon of inspiration. I like, I'll talk to a friend and they'll be like, oh, dude, that roller skater that you had on your show, how cool is that guy? Like,
Right.
That's awesome. That makes me feel like my mission is accomplished. I set out to inspire others, and someone thinks that's cool, and they're talking about doing a marathon on roller skates now. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing to see, especially when I get people that follow me on Instagram and they ask me, how did you learn how to do this? Did you go to school? And I tell them like, nah, man, I didn't go to school. Like I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I'll send them links, for people that I found inspirational to me. I'll send them links for gear that they can grab right off the bat to get started, and then it's really cool, to keep that conversation rolling. They'll keep asking me questions like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then eventually it's been, 2 or 3 months of me talking to that person, and then I just see them drop like a banger on Instagram, and I'm just like, yo, like, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so proud of you. Like, you went from, just really liking my photos, and now it's like, now you're dropping bangers, and it like
and I think that's the big difference, I think, between this day and age and back in the day is obviously the internet and YouTube and Facebook, like all this stuff didn't exist in the 90s, but success isn't mutually exclusive now. It's the age of, you don't have to be this like closed-minded, everything is mine, success is mutually exclusive mindset kind of person. Like when you see that's a prime example. What you just said, that example
Right.
is, you inspired someone and really help guide them in a passion of theirs. So when you see their success, that's awesome. And now you two are binded in a unique way. It's like
Right.
that not only did his success, or not only did your success drive him to do his best, but it kind of validates what you've been doing too. And that positivity and community feel is something that is just this whole thing is just so new to mankind. It's really interesting.
I found that the most successful people in my life that I know kind of practice this mindset of they want you to be successful too. Successful people want others to succeed. I haven't run into a lot of super successful people that enjoy watching other people fail. It's kind of a mindset of we all grow together, right? So a perfect example of that is, with that Instagram thing, right? So I met a dude who just liked my photos. Like I said, I kind of helped him, learn how to shoot, learn how to do some things. He's dropping bangers on Instagram. Well, suddenly he gets a deal for X company, right? I'm the first person that he reaches out to because, we've developed this relationship now. He needed somebody, he can do photos, he needed video content. So now his success has led to an opportunity for me.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I think people forget about that. Is it's important to keep people in your circle, but grow together. I mean, it's a big thing. You never want to see. I personally never want to see anybody fail, just because that's not who I am.
What do you get out of that? What do you get out of seeing someone fail? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Honestly, I think some people just in their head take failure pretty hard. So to see somebody else fail almost kind of validates that like it can happen to anybody. So that maybe there's something in your head that says like, all right, I feel better about myself. Seeing this person fail too. I personally just don't get it.
But if you want to go meta with it, like you were talking about earlier, it was trial and error with you learning this whole, microphones and audio and all this stuff that you've, just when you started literally at zero. There was no schooling. It was just let's research YouTube. Let's see how to get started. And on a meta level, that's how life is, man. Like you make mistakes, and that's what I'm not scared about, but it's the unfortunate path that I think that we are going down with like cancel culture is people aren't allowed to make mistakes anymore, and that's like dangerous. That's a very dangerous path to go down.
It definitely is. I mean, I've made thousands of mistakes. Thousands and thousands of mistakes that have cost me jobs. They've cost me money. It's part of life, man. We all make mistakes. The only thing is we live in this culture where everybody kind of flaunts their best life, right? So
yeah.
There's not a lot of people jumping on Facebook being like, guess what, guys? I failed 3 times today. It's, like nobody posts that content.
Yeah, I shit my pants walking up the stairs today. Yeah,
right. Yeah, nobody posts that shit. So you live in this culture where you're constantly seeing everybody's best life, and it kind of it can be kind of deflating. You fail a couple times and you think you're the only person that failed, but you are 100% not. It's just you don't see everybody's failures all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people forget that is most successful people have failed many more times than you have. That's
100%.
People forget that. It's like Elon Musk is blowing up multi-million-dollar rockets, publicly, and
Right.
He's one of the most successful people, on the planet right now. So failure is a part of the process, and
100%.
you need to embrace it. I listen to, like I told you, I listen to all these like these like pump-up speeches really every morning when I kind of get myself going for the day and my morning workouts and stuff. And one of the things is, I think it's Will Smith saying, failure, you need to embrace failure. Failure is where you grow. Like if you're in the gym lifting weights, you don't lift weights to just, you don't count to 10. You lift until you fail. Can't get that weight anymore. Like that's where growth happens. And it's the same thing with, anything that you're pursuing. So it's definitely an essential part of anyone's success.
I always go back to a Muhammad Ali quote that I love so much. That basically a reporter asked him, like how many sit-ups can you do? And he's like, I don't know. I don't start counting until it hurts.
I love that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
So, you just got to keep at it, man. You just got to keep at it. Like I said, I've gotten to the point where things are kind of, where I wanted them to be, but I've been rejected, many times. I don't want people to think that, it was just kind of a one and done. The company that I landed at right now, like I said, I did content for a bunch of people, and a lot of those ended up being nothing. So just keep in mind, you're gonna fail. Just keep at it, man. That's all you can do is just keep at it.
So your current role with the job that you're in, so this is, explain that a little bit. So what you do, like blogs and marketing material.
Yeah, so I work for a men's grooming company, and basically what I'm doing is a lot of product shots. We're doing a bunch of, modeling shots, stuff like that. We're doing videos. We create blog content. So, it's how to get great hair, how to eliminate dandruff, how to shave your beard, all stuff like that.
How do I get great hair? Can you help me?
Shampoo and condition.
That ship sailed. It's gone.
Most dudes don't condition. It's funny. It's just like a 3-in-1, just kind of.
You got some beautiful feathered hair there. You look great, man. I'm very jealous.
Man. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I gotta keep the hair on point. I guess I can't really sell men's grooming products if I'm looking bummy, right?
True. Yeah, men's grooming hair is not in my future, I don't think.
Yo, but look at that beard, bro. You got the legend beard. I can't grow the beard. It comes in all patchy, right?
That's that Italian. I got the Italian genes,
I even tried that beard roller too. You ever see that thing?
I have, and it didn't work.
Nah, doesn't work.
Give it a shot, right?
Skip your money on the beard roller. That don't work.
So I mean, back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, I think you had the part in the middle.
Oh, I had the curtains, bro.
Yeah, you did. And you were the Jinko jeans and the hair in the middle, right?
Ball chain necklace. Oh yeah,
I remember.
Doing it real big, streaking it blonde. We did the blonde streaks.
Yeah, highlights. Oh yeah, those were the days, man.
Oh, man.
So
don't want to bring those photos back.
Yeah, those are gone. We don't want to. Yeah. So I did want to get about like Twitch. So what games do you play? Oh, wait, first of all, I know you're a gamer, but I was watching one of your streams. You weren't live. It was just one of your past videos about. You were doing like I guess not a clinic, but you were just kind of doing a Photoshop. You were running Photoshop on stream, and that was really, really interesting.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Twitch is such an amazing platform. People think of it as just like a gaming platform, but honestly, I've seen a lot of successful people on Twitch, just kind of doing their own thing, right? So like one person that I really like to watch is just a painter. So she's not playing games at all. She basically is just painting and just talking on stream, and I kind of took that idea to say, what's going to make me stand out a little bit and what's going to be super beneficial, right? So I kind of want to teach somebody, as I'm working, if I can have the opportunity to kind of teach somebody, like I said with the Instagram, reaching out like that, people asking me questions. This is a great way for me to just do what I need to do, but also show people what I'm doing. So I thought it was a great idea for a stream, and it actually hit. People seem to really, really like it. So.
What category is that when you select it?
Honestly, you just got to do just chatting, which is just it's kind of weird. But more importantly is your tags. So like within the tags, there's photography tags, there's editing tags. So you just want to make sure that you hit all those. But I kind of like the idea, man, and people seem to really dig it.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's like what you just said. People think Twitch is just gaming, but then when you talk about us, I mean, I'm riding my bike on it the majority of the time, and you're doing Photoshop on there. I mean, that's
right.
It's so cool, and that's it's just what I think people find the value in, and this is I think the difference between YouTube and Twitch is Twitch you can get live feedback. Someone can log in and just start talking to you, and that's where I think people really. I've said this before. I've said this a bunch of times, but I think the idea of celebrity is shifting, and like a Brad Pitt or a Tom Cruise or you name the actor or actress. That idea of like them being so unavailable is just it's not attractive to people anymore. Like back in the day, it was like they're like gods, and now it's like people would rather hang out with like Nick Merckx and play Call of Duty, stuff like that.
Yeah. because we live in a day and age where it's, imagine if 20 years ago, you saw Fight Club, and then at the end of the movie you got to jump on and chat with Brad Pitt.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you could just ask him questions like, "Yo, how is doing this scene in the movie?" Like that level of celebrity is just becoming less attractive, like you said, and you can see it, especially when you look at social media. Like, you're starting to see all of these quote unquote unreachable people. I mean, you can find them on TikTok. They're going live and just talking to people. One of my favorite ones is like John Mayer has a TikTok, right? So now, like,
Wait, what?
you just go, yeah, dude, John Mayer has a TikTok, and he's literally just like going live and just talking to fans and
I
answering
hope my
questions.
fiance's not watching this.
Yeah, so I mean, you're starting to see this trend of like these unattainable celebrities kind of switching into this very obtainable world.
Yeah. Well,
That's
that's like what I was, because when I first started when the pandemic like first hit last year, I didn't even own a laptop, so I didn't know. I'd never streamed. I didn't know anything about any of this stuff, and it hit me. So you're gonna laugh at me, but I watched again, like you. I watched a YouTube video on how to set up a video game to stream, because I had to buy a laptop for work, and it was just a shitty little. It wasn't even like a cloud laptop. It wasn't like a Chromebook or anything like that. It was really minimal storage, like not a streaming laptop whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I couldn't play any like computer games or anything. So I had a Wii, and well, I still do, but I had and there's this game called Jerry Rice and Nidus Dog Football. Right.
Dude, are these videos around? Can I still watch these videos?
They are. They're on my
Yes.
YouTube channel. They're ridiculous.
Yes.
So I'm thinking about actually getting back into it because they were a lot of fun. But the game is, I don't know how Jerry Rice put his name on this, but it is dog football. So you have a human as the quarterback, and then the rest of the players are dogs. And the characters are like one's a clown, one's a real rich girl, one's a rock star. It's just so cheesy and ridiculous. But I was playing seasons like Madden and like getting real into it and like breaking down the deal. It was just something silly to start out with. But that's how I started streaming. Those are the first things I streamed, and then I was talking to my buddy at the pool the one day at my complex, and he's like, listen, man, like if you want to try to grow an audience, that's funny, but people really aren't into that. You gotta have a passion for something or be good at something. And then then it hit me. I was like, with Zwift, I ride my bike. I'm on Team USA Triathlon. I'm working out every day. And then that's when I connected the dots and saw that Zwift was on Twitch, and I was like, oh. And then it's really grown to the point where there's an Australian version of The Bachelor, and that guy, the host, is on Twitch and using Zwift.
Really?
And they featured him on the front page one day, and that was
nice.
really big for the Zwift community, because that was that drew a lot of people to whoa, Zwift is a thing. And it's really grown in the years since I've started, and it's cool to see though. And it's just, it goes back to we were talking about. I think it's thinking outside the box. It's thinking differently. It's finding your niche. There's a niche for everybody. If you like doing something, there is definitely a place for you on the internet.
One of the biggest things though is don't lose your love for dog football, right? So
Right.
It sounds funny, it really does, but people, they're so caught up in instant gratification, this culture, right? So you post a photo and you're used to getting 200 something likes. You post a photo that gets 80 likes, and you're like, this photo failed. But the photo that you posted with 80 likes is something that you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up so much in this culture. Just do what makes you happy, right? So if posting the photos that get 80 likes makes you happy, keep posting those photos, because eventually the likes will go up.
That's
You know what I
interesting
mean?
you said that, because that's one of the concepts on YouTube, and I'm sure it's similar to Twitter too, but it was in the book that I was listening to for YouTube. Is the woman was saying, whatever content you're making, just do it daily. And she's getting hundreds of views on stuff that she made 4 or 5 years ago that people are still finding, people are still coming across. And it's just that consistency, and your passion for things, it comes across. It really does, and that's contagious. I think people can see how genuine people are in a passionate thing that they do.
Yeah, because you're not going viral every day.
Right.
I mean, that's just a thing, right? You might have one viral video that hits, and that's great. But the people that stick with you are going to be the people that watch your daily. So, like going back to that photo, right? So I had one photo that hit, like a couple thousand likes. It ended
Wow.
It ended up going somewhere through a hashtag or whatever, and I got a lot of people from that. But the people that really support me, the people that really like what I do, are the people that are there when I post a photo that gets 80 likes. So what I do is I value that post so much more, because I know that the post that went viral, where I've gotten a couple thousand likes, those people aren't necessarily going to support me. I go back and look at that photo that gets 80 likes. Those are the people that are my diehard day ones, and those are the people that you should be constantly thinking about creating content for.
That's a cool perspective. I've never really thought about it that way, but I like that a lot. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, people try to make content for a mass audience when really they should be focusing on making content for the 150 people that support them daily. Keep showing appreciation to those people, and more people like that will come around, and those are the people that are the most important to you.
That's a big concept in comedy too. Is once a comedian starts making comedy for what they think the audience will laugh at, as opposed to them just being true to themselves. It's,
Right.
It's like the same concept. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody goes for the mass appeal, and the mass appeal isn't necessarily the best way to do it. I value the people that support me regardless of what I do, and those people are the people that I want to make sure are the happiest with my content.
That's awesome. I really like that a lot. So I was going to ask you, with as far as your social media channels go, which ones are you on?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitch. That's basically all I really stick to. I personally, for my personal stuff, I kind of stay off social media, just because I do it all day long. So to keep my own channels going is kind of hard. But Instagram, number one, and then Twitch, number two.
So your focus on Instagram, is that more photography type stuff?
Yeah, so the stuff on Instagram is more photography, videography, and that's just the stuff that I like to do. So like I keep my Instagram very clean of anything salesy, right? So you won't see a lot of promotions on my Instagram. That's like my outlet, right? So I feel like everybody needs to have an outlet, and especially with stuff like Instagram, I feel like people kind of lose sight of what it was. Once you turn something that was, you don't want Instagram to turn into a job, right? So there's people, it's a full-time thing where, they've created this personality on Instagram, and now they feel almost obligated to get a post up every day. So I really wanted to make sure that I kept my Instagram just kind of carefree,
I like that.
lax. Yeah, just a place where like I can escape and be like, I really like this photo and I just want to put it out.
Yeah.
So that's the type of content that you'll see on Instagram.
Do you have a theme when you are doing photography, or like what's I'm so far. So let me ask you this, because I'm an idiot. I know nothing about photography. So, like, what goes through a photographer's mind? Like, do you have like days you set out? Like, walk me through the thought process of your photography.
I'm a very run and gun photographer, right? So I like to use the analogy of, we used to shoot weddings, right? So we would work with wedding coordinators, event planners, stuff like that, and they would have this whole itinerary. The entire day would be planned out. Every 10 minutes, this is going to happen. At 11:07, this is going to happen, right?
With a lot of bridezillas, I bet, right?
Not even so much. The brides are always, thank God, the brides are always wonderful. It's more the event planners that are really like they go crazy. You know what I mean? And it's always kind of funny because they have these plans set in place. Their itinerary will start at 9 and it runs until 11 p.m. at night. Well, it's 9:47 in the morning and their whole plan has gone to shit already. Just because shit happens.
It has to
it
be a
is what it is.
stressful job. Oh.
100%. So I kind of take that mindset into basically everything I do. It's great to have a plan in place, but just know 9 times out of 10 your plan's going to go to shit within the first 10 minutes. So I kind of just run and gun.
It's the Mike Tyson quote. Everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the mouth.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's 100% what it is too. So when I go into it, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I kind of just go with the flow. And you can see that. So I do a lot of portrait stuff, and you can see when I'm kind of relaxed and carefree, that projects on the person that I'm working with, and we 9 times out of 10 get better content that way anyway.
That's really cool, man. So there's really not like a theme. So you're looking for more just aesthetically pleasing photos with models that you have or how does that work?
So basically, we're just going to a location and hanging out, and I'm just kind of looking around for stuff that I think will be aesthetically cool. I think what most people don't know, when it comes to photography, it's like you can rifle off 500 shots, and out of that deal, you might get 5 that are amazing. You know what I mean? So, I work with a model, and I'll put out 10 photos from that set. But what people don't realize is I took 750 photos that day, and 740 of them were garbage. You know what I
Wow,
mean?
that's wild. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that. So I'm sponsored by a rubber floor company called RubCorp. Shout out to RubCorp. Camera's up there. Shout out to RubCorp.
Shout.
They brought me in for a photo shoot for their website and everything, and look at me, I'm not a model, but I've never been to a photo shoot of any kind before, but I see what you're saying. I was there for a long time, and they took thousands of pictures, and
Right.
To make 10.
Yeah, to make 10 photos that they use for something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see that a lot. The more that the model that I work with starts to get more comfortable in front of the camera, I like to say the first 50 shots are usually throwaways because it's just you getting used to being in front of the camera. Because I'm sure you felt it. I mean, it's pretty weird.
It's
to
real
have
weird.
Yeah, to have a camera pointed at you is a weird feeling, and it's something that you definitely have to get over. And I think it's something that holds people back too. Just being in the limelight. People are shy. People are self-conscious, and
I think the same goes for streaming though too. I mean, it's the first time you put a camera on yourself and you hear yourself talk, you're like, oh, what is that?
It's weird, and especially with Twitch, right? So, when we start on Twitch, you're not starting with 100 viewers. I mean, you're starting just you playing video games, talking to yourself, and it's a weird. It's
a lot of talking to yourself. Yep.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to get over, but eventually you just kind of get over it. Just like anything, the more that you do it, the more you get used to it. So just go for it. I tell people all the time, just go for it. There's so many things that hold people back, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's ego. I really do think ego is what people are scared to fail. People don't want to live uncomfortably because it's super uncomfortable to put yourself out there and do all this stuff. And ironically, it's you don't want to fail. The ego, I really do. Like I said, I think it's a big part of it, but it's also, doing this stuff feels like you're full of yourself as well. I produced that 4x4x48 challenge I did, and it took me it probably would have taken you 5 minutes. It took me 9 hours to piece that video together and produce it and everything. And after the first hour, I'm like, am I this full of myself that I'm putting together a highlight film of myself running around? Who cares, But you keep you have to keep your why in the back of your mind. Why am I doing this? My goal is to inspire others, and I want someone to watch this video and be like, damn, that freaking Jamoke ran, did that event over the weekend. Wow, that's what can I do? You have to keep that in mind. What's
Right.
your why? The same thing with you.
Yeah, I mean, you try to put out the best stuff that you can and just inspire people. But you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
That's
kind
right.
of thing,
That's
right?
right.
So
That's right.
you just do the best you can and just hope for the best.
So with you, I mean, I mentioned, you were reaching out to me and asking me for some advice on Twitch because you saw me on Twitch, and now I mean you're killing it. So obviously you're crazy driven and you have a lot going on. What are some next steps? You know, where do you see yourself going from here? And do you have any like specific goals that you're shooting for?
For the Twitch, I mean, I still try to keep it fun and relax. I think I kind of hit my goal for Twitch, right? So my goal for Twitch was just to get affiliated, and then kind of use the platform to engage with people, especially now where 6 feet social distancing, right? It's kind of just nice to have a place where you can just kind of hang out with people.
Yeah.
As for Twitch, I think I kind of hit my goal. I'm kind of in that dead zone, right, where I've already hit affiliate. I don't really think I'll ever hit partner.
That gap is just so big.
The gap is so big, right? There's no
3 to 75.
there's no middle tier, right?
Yeah.
So like if you want to hit partner, it's really something that you need to do kind of on a full-time basis, and honestly I just don't have the time to commit to it. So I think Twitch wise, like, I'm just kind of happy with where I am. Like, I have a good production. I have a good group of people that come and support me every single day, which I love. I love you all very much. Thank you for coming to support me. I appreciate each and every one of you. So Twitch wise, I think I'm good. But photography wise, like I said, I love the company that I'm at right now, and I'm really excited for what the future holds with them.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'll tell you, it's as someone who didn't finish high school, didn't do this professionally or like professionally trained, and just you're self-taught, and to see where you've come and where you are now, I think it's a really cool story, and it's one that definitely should inspire people to pursue their passions and go after what you like. Don't hesitate. Life's too short to second guess yourself.
There's 1,000 reasons to not do something. That's kind of a quote that I really like. The biggest thing is just get out there and just do it. Like I said, you'll always think of a reason why you shouldn't. Going back to the Twitch thing, right? So like, should I have posted me, just streaming from my PlayStation with no camera? No, probably not. But you know what? I did it, and it led to something bigger and better.
That was putting
right?
your toe in the water. That was the
Right.
first step. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. People always, it comes down to planning, right? So people are always just, I'm going to wait until this happens before I do this, or, this is something that I want to do, but I need to do X, Y, and Z first to make it how I want it. Like, there's so many things that you put obstacles in your own path, right?
I'm going to say it. I hate the saying, but I'm going to say it. My fiance is going to kill me for saying it. It's a corporate world saying, paralyzation through analyzation.
Right, exactly, 100%. Sometimes we are our own worst enemies, and you put these roadblocks in front of you, and a lot of it is a mental game of just maybe just being afraid to take the next step. So you're kind of mentally giving yourself reasons to not do that. 100%, just go for it. Just give it a shot, see how it goes. You can always grow, you can always get better, but the key is you got to start.
I think that's an awesome place to end, man. We've been doing this for over an hour. I think
Nice,
that is that flew by, and I think you have a great story, and you're really interesting to follow, man. You really are. You do great work on Instagram, and for those listening, we're gonna put it all in the links. So make sure to give him a follow and hop on his streams if you're interested in learning about photo editing. I mean, this guy does some great stuff. So definitely make sure to shoot him a follow. Dave, is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to cover? Any last words?
Honestly, man, dude, this has been awesome. I'm just thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. I hope people. I'm sure I said some things that people didn't really like, here and there, but hopefully, hopefully it's inspiring to a few people, and I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with, and where people end up.
We'll see you at the top, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And David, thanks for joining me, man. It was a real pleasure to reconnect.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.